Okay, I'm going to demonstrate for you how to make a mug, and we're going to be using red clay this time. You're going to be making a mug that includes your stamp design, and it's going to also have a handle. Today I'll demonstrate how to make the mug with the stamp design in it, and then tomorrow I'll demonstrate the handle. First of all, you're going to start out with a piece of red clay, and this is pre-wedged, so it's all ready to go. It's kind of a thick block, and you want to thin it down. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to kind of toss it toward the table like this, and it's going to get longer and thinner.
Get it. I'll teach you cheat taps.
This particular piece is a little bit big, but I think that it'll work out fine. I have all of the tools that I need. I want slats, and the slats that you pick up need to be made of the same kind of wood. There are a couple of slats in there that are a little different wood than this type. And then you need a rolling pin, and you're going to roll this out. As you roll, you're basically pushing the clay forward, and it's going to get hard to do. That means that it's sticking to the mat, so you need to lift it, lay it back down, roll again. Make sure that your rolling pin is always on the tracks. You don't want it to get off the tracks, because if it gets off the tracks, then you'll end up with thin and thick spots. You can see that chunk is
That's pretty thin.
causing some problems here.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, I'm going to cut that chunk off because it's a little more than I need. Alright, so what I've done is I have it rolled out. If you're having trouble rolling it out, you can ask for help, because you really have to put your weight into it. Some of us have a little more weight than others, so I'm pretty good at this. Same. Okay? Alright. I'm going to use this green template to cut the base of the mug, the main cylinder part of the mug. And I want to cut around it. Make sure you hold it down, because they kind of curl. They've gotten a little bit moist from being used today. And then peel away the extra clay. You may need it, so you can leave that for a minute. I have this cylinder, and if I take the cylinder and gently press it into the clay, it'll leave a small indentation. Don't try to cut out the clay using the cylinder, because you need that ridge. You're going to cut on the outside of that ridge, like this.
You're going to snag your finger on that.
Okay. And now I have the base and the side walls. The extra clay that I have left over, I'm going to use to test my stamps and my wheel. You can decide what to use. You don't have to use the stamps, you don't have to use the wheel. You have to use one or the other, or you can use them both. So if I take the stamp, I'm going to stamp it in, rock it forward, rock it sideways just a little bit. I can see what the design looks like. Here's a different one. I can see what the design looks like, and decide if I like them, if I want to use those. The wheel, you're going to put a pencil on the inside of it, and you're going to press down and roll it along. Hang on a second here.
Got stuck.
It was going uphill. And I can see what that design looks like.
Should I zoom in?
No, it's good. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to use the wheel. My recommendation to you is that if you use the wheel, don't put it at the very top or at the very bottom. You can have it lower than halfway, halfway, higher than halfway, you decide, but you need a smooth edge at the top and at the bottom. The one at the top is so that you don't have a rough spot that you're trying to drink against. It'll be like rough on your lips. The one at the bottom is so that when you knit the base onto it, it doesn't run into your design. Okay, so I'm going to roll this across.
Wow. Neat.
And I end up with my pattern on my design. What I want to do next is lay this back on here, because when I did that, it kind of squished the clay. I need to trim it again so that the edges are perfectly even.
Okay.
Once that's done and trimmed, I'm going to now wrap it around this tube. I want to lay the piece of paper, cardboard on there and roll it with it. There are two things that are happening here. One is I'm creating memory for the piece of clay so that it remembers it's supposed to go in a cylinder shape. If you don't wrap it around something like that, you can sort of get a cylinder, but it may be all wonky. But if you wrap it around, even for just a couple of minutes, it's going to remember this shape, and it's going to stay even when I pull this out. It doesn't, you'll notice that this doesn't fit exactly all the way around. But that's fine. I just need it to get the rounded shape. The reason I put this inside the paper inside is so it doesn't stick to the paper
cardboard.
tube, because otherwise it'll stick to the cardboard. And then I can pull this out. Now I'm ready to connect these. Connecting them together is pretty simple. All I have to do is score the edge, apply slip, fairly heavy amount, kind of sloppy and goopy, and then I'm going to connect them together right here. Now, when I knit these together, I can do some of it just with my finger, just by smoothing it together right there. You don't have to knit together in the same way that you do with the coil. It doesn't have to get real ugly. The other thing is, I'm knitting this down the side, and it may mess up my design a little bit, which is fine, because this is where I'm going to attach the handle. And I'll pass this around so that you guys can take a look at how the handle is put together, but it's going right along that seam, so it's going to cover up a lot of the space where you've put it together. Then I'll knit the inside until I can't see a line there as well. And it's not quite done, but I'm going to stop
You ever drank anything out of this
to
thing?
this. Yes. Not that particular one, but yes, others that I've made. Okay, so then I'm going to add slip to this crevice that I have right here. I don't have to score it because it already has that indentation.
Okay, watch the line, man.
And I'm going to set the cylinder on top of it, the mug cylinder, kind of press it down just a little bit, flip it over, and I'm going to use my finger just to kind of seal up that edge. This little piece is a little far out, so I'm going to trim it. The base should be just slightly smaller than your mug. And if you cut it according to the way it prints, when you stamp it with that, it should be fine. You want to make sure you're putting this on the plate, your plate, and covering it with a bag, and save it for tomorrow so that you can finish it up then.
Oh, cool.
Tomorrow. We'll do handles. I'll do a demonstration on how to make handles tomorrow. They're kind of complicated, even though they don't look complicated. But that will help help you when you get closer
So
to making it, so you can see.
these should be done by when?
Well, I'm thinking we should be finished with them Wednesday. There may be a couple of people that take until Thursday because they're still working on
Slow.
glazing. But it's one day to make this, and then one day to do the handle, and then you're good.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Do we
okay.
Do we glaze these too?